It's a big Wednesday here on The Sweat as we welcome in the bros of the Gojo podcast. We're going to get their Rose of the Week. We're going to talk to them about a lot of stuff. We got Julian Edlow in the building.
No.
Going to be really fun to talk to him. NHL's in full swing, so we're going to talk to our NHL experts. Plus, Zozo Championship going down in Japan. We'll run through best bets, DFS, stuff for that. So much coming up on The Sweat. Stay tuned to find out.
Oh my God, Julian Edlow.
Whoa!
Oh.
Sneaky.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm great.
Good
Nice.
morning.
It's just always so awkward.
It is great to have you here. Jesse teased you being here, which is why you're here. You're here for your final Hidden Jewels segment before he leaves us because he and his
Yeah.
wife had decided to make another roommate.
Yeah.
So we're gonna.
Yeah.
That's
we're
a
gonna
weird
make-
way of saying that Julian's having a child.
I think people got it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I call my wife my roommate all the time.
Dude, absolutely.
Okay, well, Hidden Jewel segment. We're in football season, obviously. We're going to
Yes.
start there. Always plenty of options on the sportsbook when it comes to the NFL, but a little birdie told us that you have your eyes on your hometown
Who's our
team,
producer?
the New England Patriots against Cleveland this week. So, like, despite uncertainty in the backfield with injuries to Damian Harris and Mac Jones, this is where you're going?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't like the NFL board at all this week. So honestly, great time to have a kid and just bail on Sunday and not be on this show
Smart.
and let other people make the picks because it's a very difficult
That was
week.
the long
You
game,
are
wasn't it?
lazy.
This was timed 9 months out.
Wow.
I lean Patriots, but honestly, it was 3. It's now 2.5. I like it at 3. I'm passing at 2.5. I think the Patriots have a decent shot in this game. They blew the Browns out at home last season. Cleveland's just finding ways to lose games. You saw the end of that game against the Chargers. You saw the epic meltdown. We haven't seen a meltdown like that in 20 years, like the one that they had against the New York Jets. I don't like this Browns team very much when it comes to closing games, and I expect Bill Belichick to have a game plan. The defense kind of found itself the other day, even though the Lions made plenty of mistakes. I think the Browns are going to make similar mistakes. So I lean Patriots in this one in what's a gross weekend of football. The Thursday night game, we're coming off a game with 0 touchdowns. We're going to see another gross one. I would lean Commanders if you wanted another one against the Bears. But, yeah, that game might make your eyes bleed.
I mean, the Browns have lost 3 games by a combined total of 6 points. So the question is, can they finish one at home now?
Maybe, but it might be by less than 3 points.
What about in the what about in the college game here? Which hidden jewels are waiting to be discovered this week?
Yeah, we're going with a couple here, and we're going with the sharp sides, I guess. We're going to align ourselves with the sports book. One of them, undefeated USC, takes on a Utah team coming off a bad loss to UCLA. They're at home for this game on Saturday night. Everybody loves USC. The public money's coming in on USC. You're getting 3.5. I laid the 3 at the beginning of the week. Maybe with more public money, I would hold off on that and try and hope that we get 3 again and take the field goal, or lay the field goal rather. Just Utah has to win this game. They dropped one at the Swamp. They dropped one last week at UCLA. Now they're at home, and USC all season has just been dancing around landmines, it seems like. They almost lost at Oregon State. They've been winning the turnover battle by insane margins every week. I think that's going to go away on a huge Saturday night game at Utah. So I expect the Utes to get that one. And then your elbow's in my shot.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, so BYU for the other one. This one went from BYU -3 to +1.5. I'll take BYU on the money line here to get it done at home. Tough spot for Arkansas. They get KJ Jefferson back, who's been dinged up. But this team lost a game they should have won against Texas A&M. Then they get smoked by Alabama. Then they go on the road and lose an SEC game to Mississippi State. Now you go all the way out west to BYU, playing at elevation. A lot of road games and a lot of losing in a row for the Arkansas Razorbacks. This BYU team has 19 starters back off last season. Jaron Hall a little dinged up. I expect him to be more healthy this time around. I think BYU gets this one done at home. I'm surprised that Arkansas is favored.
Yeah, Notre Dame just upsetting BYU. We got a couple Notre Dame teammates joining the program coming up, Mike Golick Jr. and Brandon Newman. But going back to USC real quick, I mean, Caleb Williams continues to light up defenses here with his Heisman performances. What do you have? 1,600 yards, 1 pick, 14 touchdowns right now?
I mean, C.J. Stroud's going to win the Heisman. That's as long as he doesn't lose a game. Ohio State.
I'm just saying how damn good this
way.
quarterback's been for USC.
He's been really good. I'm expecting mistakes in this spot. Again, huge road game. The total at the game, the Saturday night game at Oregon State, was 71 points, and I think USC won that game 17-13 or 17-14. They won that game. They didn't put up points on the road against Oregon State. I think they're going to struggle putting up points against Utah.
Okay, let's switch gears out of college football. So we're less than 1 week away from the NBA regular season. I'm sure you're going to be following the Celtics, obviously. You have your eyes on a Western Conference squad, though, heading into the season when it comes to a futures bet. So what's that?
Yes, I'm all over the New Orleans Pelicans this season. This is a team that I bet under on the win total last year. I believe it was 39.5, and it got there. But this team started the year 3-16. They were well under 500 all season, and then they make a run at the end of the year. Zion doesn't play in any of those games last year. Brandon Ingram's dinged up. C.J. McCollum comes on late. You bring him in towards the end of the season, gives them a boost. Now you have McCollum coming into camp with this team. You have a healthy Zion. Everyone always says they're in the best shape of their life when they come back from an injury. They're in camp. Zion looks fantastic.
He just
if
needs to
you've
play.
seen him. Well, that's the plan. He's going to play, and that's why I like the Pelicans. You following along here?
No.
So I think this is this year's Grizzlies team. They're going to be a huge spark in the West. I think they avoid the play-in round altogether and finish with one of those top 6 seeds. So over 44.5 wins on DraftKings Sportsbook is one of the better numbers you can get out there. I'm going alternate, too. I think this team can win 50 games, so over 48.5 wins is the alt win total on DK Sportsbook. You're getting plus 200 on that. You can lay minus 165 for them to make the postseason. Any way you want to back the Pelicans, I'm in on them.
Jules, we have a surprise for you.
Oh, no.
Stop looking at my screen.
I
by the way.
can't see anything.
We're bringing in DK contributor Gary Thornright.
I already knew
Look at that
Gary
big
was
hairy
here.
face. He's
This
here
wasn't
to,
a surprise.
He was
Tom
here
told
to
me
help
he's
you
coming
talk some
on.
baseball. Just fake it, dude.
Oh, my God, it's Gary.
Yeah, there he is. All right, dudes, we have 2 games today. Phillies and Braves are going to face off in game 2. I do believe there's some weather concerns in that one as of right now. So that's their best of 5 NLDS series. It started yesterday. Phillies upsetting the Braves in that one. Then the Padres and Dodgers will do the same thing on the West Coast later tonight. Gare Bear, which futures bet stands out to you here as value right now?
I really like, you've got the ability to bet how many series you think will end in a sweep. And right now, over 1.5 is paying plus 340. I think there's some really nice value there because even looking at some of these series before the game 1 victories, I think there was a pretty sizable advantage for the Dodgers over the Padres. I think there was a pretty sizable advantage for the Yankees over the Guardians, particularly if the Guardians just aren't going to score more than 1 run a game. That's a pretty big issue against the New York Yankees. And then even some of these other series, I mean, we talked a lot, I feel like 3 or 4 different times heading into the wild card round about why the Phillies could sweep the Cardinals. And I'm not saying it wouldn't be a massive surprise to see the reigning World Series champions swept out of the playoffs. But the whole reason we thought the Phillies could win the wild card round was because they were going to have Zach Wheeler start game 1 and have Aaron Nola start game 2. Now you've got Zach Wheeler starting game 2 and Aaron Nola starting game 3 in a series you're already up 1-0. So I think there's a lot of scenarios here, a lot of outcomes where a sweep is on the table. And look, even a series that I think is probably going to go 4 or 5 games between Houston and Seattle, I mean, that was a back-breaking loss.
Dude, that was unbelievable,
yesterday.
man.
Yep.
I mean, this is a team that clearly has shown time and time again that they don't give up. But that's a really tough loss to take. I mean, to be punched in the mouth like that, who knows? Maybe they're just on the mat the next 2 games when they have to face Framber Valdez and Lance McCullers. Like, there's just some really, really good pitching from the favorites in this series. And then one particular underdog, again, who has 2 ace-level talents in Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola.
All right, before we get your futures bet, do you see at least 2 of these series right now ending in a sweep?
I mean, the Dodgers can sweep anybody, right?
Yeah.
And then Houston
Held off the Padres.
maybe,
Padres were trying to come back last night.
the disparity between those teams, like Garion said, the regular season was 62 runs between them. They played 19 times, and the Dodgers beat them by 62 runs. The loss for the Mariners, by the way, that Garion is saying, that reminds me of the Cardinals loss in Game 1 of the wild card series to the Phillies, a loss that you can't come back from. And then, look, the Cardinals don't score again, the series is over. That seems like that kind of spot to me.
Almost like a Blue Jays Mariners ask too from
Well,
Game 2.
I wasn't going to do that to Gary.
I mean, the Blue Jays also outscored the Red Sox by about 100 runs this season.
Garion, you're living in the past. Wake
did.
up.
What? Sorry.
Okay, what do you want? Is it time for me to give a future?
Yeah, give me a
Yeah,
future.
go ahead. I don't.
It's a hidden
This is
jewel.
your hidden jewel. It's not hidden Garion.
All right, here's a hidden. Yeah, we got a lot of hidden Garion. Here's a hidden jewel that's not very hidden. It's right on the top of the treasure chest, and I'm not digging any deeper. It's the Dodgers to win the NL at even money. I don't care. You get it at better prices before, yeah, but you're asking me the question right now. The Dodgers are going to win the NL. The Braves were the type of team that could maybe challenge them and challenge them last year. And like Garion just said, they're in a tough spot, losing Game 1. Now they got to go up against the Phillies' 2 best pitchers. I don't know. I don't care if it's, if the Braves have to win that series, they're going to have to use a lot of energy, a lot of arms, and it's going to take a lot to get there. Whereas the Dodgers are going to do what they've done all season and just beat the pulp out of the Padres a couple more times. So
Okay.
I just think the Dodgers to get there. Who knows if they're going to see the Astros, the Yankees. Who knows how it goes. Dodgers at even money to get through the NL right now, I think is the best bet on the board.
All right. So is that your favorite play?
Sure.
What
I
about
got to
for
play
this?
today.
Add them.
Yeah, what about
I got to
for
bet
tonight?
today.
All right. Give us that one.
All right. We're going Phillies first 5. I'll split it up and do a little bit of the plus money on the money line, and then I think it's minus 135 to take the half run with Wheeler in case it's tied there. But Wheeler's been really good. He threw a gem in St. Louis in the wild card round. He's given up 1 earned run in his last 3 starts combined, I believe. And then, wow, we can do video now?
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Where the hell have you been? We've been doing video for all these sports.
I don't know,
recently.
man. I don't really pay attention at work. So
Clearly, you've blacked out.
basically, I really like the spot for Wheeler, and he's done well. He's had a lead, I think, in 2 of his 3 starts against the Braves this season after 5 innings. And Kyle Wright's been coming undone a little bit lately, and we've seen some of these pitchers on the teams that got the bye struggling a little bit, at least early in their starts, even if they find their feet later. Philly's just a hot team right now, and I'm going to keep riding them here, and I love the matchup with Wheeler versus Wright.
All right, Garion, what is your favorite play on the board for tonight's 2 playoff contests?
While I do think the Dodgers are going to win this game tonight, I will say that Yu Darvish's outs recorded prop is very, very tempting. Right now it's set at 17.5 to go over is minus 110. Not only
What happened? Is it on
Can
him or
nobody
is
hear
it on
Garion?
us?
We can't
Hold on,
hear you,
Garion, if you can hear
Garion.
us, we lost your audio.
We can't hear you.
Can he not hear us?
You're still talking, so.
Garion!
All
Shut
right.
up!
All right, we're going to cut away
Stop
from
Captivating
talking,
stuff.
Garion!
Should I give
Stop
Garion's best
talking.
bet for him?
Act like an adult one
Do you
time.
know what he was going to say?
All right, so
Something about you, Darvish, getting a lot of outs.
go follow Garion on Twitter to find out what
He'll
his
tweet it out.
favorite play on the board is. So we're going to have to end
Yeah.
the segment, unfortunately.
Up next, hopefully their audio and our audio works. We have the Gojo gang joining us to give their unique takes on the world of sports, including can the Panthers turn things around now that Matt Rule has been sent packing?
Probably not.
I know. right, everybody. It's everyone's favorite time of our Wednesday shows. The Gojo gang joining us, and you can hear former Notre Dame teammates. By the way, Mike Golick Jr. and Brandon Newman offer their unique perspective on the hottest topics across sports and pop culture. So go ahead, listen to it, download the app, download the show wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. I do the same.
You had the read.
I do the same damn read every week, and I can never nail it down.
All right, well, that's right. They are here in the flesh. Michael Jr., Brandon Newman, they're here.
I for one appreciate Emerson giving us variety every week. I never know what to expect. I know where to find my show, and every week it's still an adventure to hear it from Emerson.
He just reads it like he can't read. Do you know what I mean?
Because I struggle, dude. I did 5 years at UCF.
He reads the copy like he doesn't know how to read. Like the teacher just called on him in the classroom.
Guys, as someone who yesterday had to read a Bible passage I wasn't ready for at my nephew's baptism, let me tell you the worst place to go do popcorn reading. The Bible.
Yeah.
Those are hard old words in that book.
Yeah.
Dude, there are some big words.
They didn't translate that very well.
Yeah, and also, Brandon, you look great. You're rocking the sports coat today? Wow.
Emerson, I did this for you. You're taking the bait. I put on the polo because I'm with you, and I put on the blazer because of you. And you give me strong frat boy vibes, so I put on a white hat back.
Wow!
How did you know?
You got that right. He gives such frat boy vibes that he was in a frat at UCF and took 5 years to graduate.
Yeah, listen, man, a little scenic
That's
route
just because
action.
he was busy inventing space, because UCF invented outer space.
Hell yeah, dude. It's going to be some sick unis tomorrow night.
All right,
let's
guys,
dial in. Let's dial in. Let's get back on
Let's
track.
talk about the issue that everybody's been hemming and hawing about, screaming about for the past few days, and that is the roughing the passer penalty. I mean, everyone's on fire with this one, and for good reason, right?
Kinda
So
wild.
the NFL says they're looking into changes, but like, how can they fix this?
Yeah, and this is good too because we have Mike from the offensive perspective, and then we get to hear Brandon from the defensive perspective.
Which,
those guys
Brandon,
don't know how to tackle.
I bet you're like, finally.
Oh yeah, I mean, I want this thing. I'm so angry, guys. I'm really pissed off, as you can imagine. With Chris Jones, these penalties shouldn't change the game. That's my thing. These roughing and passing penalties, like usually happen during this during the drives and during the game, but like the last game, like the pivotal play, you can't make that call there. Chris Jones says if it's a priority, then you need to prioritize it, review it I agree with that. Patrick Mahomes says some common sense needs to be brought into it. I agree with that as well. I understand protecting the quarterbacks, but it can't be flipping the game when the quarterbacks are fine. You know what I mean? It's different if the quarterback sustains an injury, in my opinion.
Well, that's the problem with this, is it's too result-based, and that's why it's not going to change, because the Chiefs still won. And at the end of the day, if the Chiefs had lost in prime time because of this and you'd have been able to point to it, the NFL might have considered doing something. But Brandon just said the quiet part loud. The only thing that matters to them is keeping the quarterbacks upright. And so as long as what's being done is in the interest of that, they can maybe change points of emphasis. They can maybe tell officials, hey, ease up on some of this stuff. Let it be pretty egregious. Make sure that this is something that's going to stand out. But they're not going to change anything about this rule. I don't think they're going to add reviewing to this play, because we've already seen the emphasis with the review process in the NFL be shorten up the time. We want the games to keep moving. I think that this is something I always put user error too. Officials are like everyone else in the game. They get better or worse in doing certain things. And I think officials need to start to be held to a higher standard when it comes to how they officiate this particular play. But I don't see any structural change coming.
Yeah, like Brady in the post-game presser when they were like asking him about it, and he was like, I don't throw the flags.
Yeah, but then he was like kicking and screaming
and everyone
on
was
the
like,
field.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It feels...
If the NFL wants terrible defense, then I should have got drafted a long time ago. Like, we need to look up the college players that give up the most yards on offense and start to draft those guys. Like, what are we actually going for right
Don't
here?
give them away free game, Brandon. Make them pay for that.
I mean, it feels just like an overcorrection here to after the situations like with Tua, which, by the way, Mike McDaniel, Dolphins head coach, just said moments ago that Tua is not expected to play on Sunday versus the Vikings.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Guys, let's go to Carolina, though, because Matt Rule is out. Steve Wilkes, who many felt got a raw deal in his short stint with Arizona, is now the interim coach. Mike, I'll start with you. Why didn't Matt Rule live up to the hype coming out of college?
I think for a lot of the reasons that college coaches coming for the first time to the NFL have trouble. It's just a different locker room environment that you've got to deal with. I also think when you boil this thing really down, Look at the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold, and Baker Mayfield. That's not going to be a unit that wins you a ton of football games. And I'm one that looked at some of those gambles and said, well, if you're bringing in Teddy Bridgewater to be your bridge quarterback, as you had signed Matt Rule to this long-term contract at the beginning, that's okay. And then, you know what, if you want to take a risk on Sam Darnold and say, hey, you know what, maybe spend a little bit too much on that, but if we think we can reclaim some of that, then go ahead. You had failures at that position addressing that. We've seen an offensive coordinator, the struggle that they've had to try and find consistency there. And so I think all across the board, trouble making hires and trouble addressing the most important position in football was really the undoing in Carolina.
And Brandon, we're talking the worst offense in the league, and now Baker's going to miss the next 2 to 4 weeks. How difficult is it going to be for Steve Wilkes to turn things around in Carolina, even a little bit?
Well, he should be comfortable in Carolina after dealing with Sam Bradford and Josh Rosen over there with the Cardinals.
You're right.
I think he knows what to do with bad quarterbacks as long as they let him keep his job for a little bit. I mean, you ask why Matt Rule just didn't work out in college. I don't want to be a Heidice guy, and I love Samir, shout out to him, but I just feel like Matt Rule just wasn't big enough. He just wasn't a big enough man to coach NFL players.
He wore the big smock and looked like a square. He had a defined look. Brady. You go back to the NFL coaches picture they take every offseason at the seminar, and I think he actually took up a good amount of space there. He seemed to be in there throwing bows a little bit. I'll push back on your size comp here. This is a man who embraced being very square. It wasn't wrong to be strong for him.
I feel you, but they don't trust me. I'll let you know. They don't respect wideness as much as they respect being being wide horizontally. Is that a way to do it?
Wide vertically.
Vertically, excuse me. Thank you.
All I know is he's still owed $40 million. Some get beat by the system and some finesse it. He absolutely finesse it.
Hero at the bank. Nothing but respect for my king, Matt Rule.
You're damn right, dude.
Nothing but respect. Greatest gig in America, honestly.
Let's talk about the greatest team in America now.
All right, yeah, big win for Notre Dame over 16th ranked BYU. So, guys, I mean, they've won 3 straight, and now they're taking on Stanford in primetime this week. Both of you said to stay patient with new head coach Marcus Freeman after some ugly early season losses. So, is that patience paying off here? I mean, how big is this game, too, right? So they've got 3-game stretch, Stanford, UNLV, and Syracuse. Then they host Clemson. So how important are these 3 games?
These are big time. I think for Stanford, this is a Stanford team that's very down right now. Notre Dame 17-point favorites in this game. You have to go out and show and remind people you know what to do with an inferior opponent because, guys, to me, this is showing this 3-game stretch that reaction to what happened in Marshall may have been a little bit overblown. Everybody loved running with that Marcus Freeman, first Notre Dame head coach, to start 0-3 going back to the bowl game, forgetting that it was top 10 Oklahoma State, top 10 Ohio State, who might be number 1 for some people right now. And then a game where you slipped up because you were a young head coach, a new quarterback, and a lot of things that I think were easy to excuse away. Now I don't think it's the conversation we always want to have with these teams. Is so-and-so back? Is Notre Dame back? Is Texas back? I don't know if Notre Dame's back, but I think they might be back to normal, meaning they can go into games like this, and I feel a lot more comfortable about this team relying on the makeup we've seen on the offensive and defensive lines, getting better quarterback play from Drew Pine, and seeing Marcus Freeman and company be able to weather the storm. The end of that BYU game, BYU started to make this comeback in the 4th quarter. A lot of people thought it might be, oh, here we go again with some of these second-half collapses we've seen early in the Freeman era, and they were able to get past that. So Notre Dame's ability to go take care of business against Stanford and UNLV, and then to get ready for a really good Syracuse team, a defense that's certainly potent, and an offense with Garrett Schrader that's taken a big step this year with some coordinator and quarterback coach change. That's going to be a great challenge for them before we get to the real measuring sticks down the end of the season. Syracuse would be one of those, but Clemson and USC are the ones that people have had circled in South Bend since the start of the year.
Yeah, Brandon, what's your take on this?
I mean, those games are circled for a reason. Those are the only unbeaten teams left on the schedule. As many losses as we have with Ohio State and Marshall, if we get an opportunity to put some losses on those schedules, that's going to do a lot for us when it comes to the narrative-wise. It's already beating a ranked BYU team and handling them, doing our thing with them, really. Michael Mayer, Drew Pine, I think the patience is getting that connection to really gel out, and someone eventually is going to be able to guard and Michael Mayer. I hope so. I assume so once we start getting to the USCs and the Clemsons down the line. But I'm with Mike. That gap between Clemson and Notre Dame is closing rapidly. And I like the fact that Notre Dame can call our shots. Will we end up probably getting embarrassed in a primetime spot? Potentially, but that is our normal.
Gentlemen, finally, it would not be a Gojo segment without the Gojo Rose of the Week. So who or what receives the coveted rose from each of you this week? Mike.
Yeah, I'll start off with me here. We've been chronicling on the podcast Alaska's Katmai National Park's Fat Bear Week, a competition among girthy bears getting ready for winter to see who is the biggest and fattest bear. We did a full breakdown of their NFL comps, and if you want to check that out, at Gojo Show on Twitter, download, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast, obviously. But 747 is the name of the bear who has just been crowned champion of Fat Bear Week. He's an absolute unit. He was the champion in 2020, and he was my comp for the Kansas City Chiefs, which has to bode well if you're looking at this NFL upcoming season for what might have happened there. We had scandal involving the team that most closely identified. We comped with the New England Patriots, which shouldn't be shocking to anybody here, a ballot stuffing scandal and potential cheating and impropriety involving the New England Patriots in Bear Week. But 747, the champion, very happy, very proud of this big girthy bear.
Yeah, voter fraud attempt there during Fat Bear Week. All right, Brandon, you had Adam Levine 2 weeks ago, Tom Brady, I believe, last week. Who's it going to be this week?
I think this is a good through line. My rose goes to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah!
Chick-fil-A, yes. After, it was the NBC did a ranking of the fastest fast food restaurants. Chick-fil-A came in last, guys, number 10, with 509.3 seconds through the drive-through experience, in and out. Obviously, McDonald's is very slow as well, but I think you got to wait for quality, like with In-N-Out, Mike. You have to wait for quality. So I'm here for Chick-fil-A. Number one, the fastest drive-through was KFC at the top. Chicken spots, bookending 1 and number 2. Obviously, no one goes to KFC anyways, and I'm saying that from Louisville, Kentucky. So shouts out to Chick-fil-A. They need a little love. They're getting some negative pub right now because of the long wait times, but we all want it's our pleasure. We all wait for the niceties.
Yeah, it takes an extra long time because they're
they're so popular. The line is so long,
and they're like lovingly putting special napkins in for you, and
little mints, the sauces.
I mean, you've seen the videos of Chick-fil-A employees saving people, and it's just
the commercials. They save lives. No one else is doing that. Okay. Yeah,
thank you.
Chick-fil-A is very delicious. I'm all on board. That's a good one. You have bounced back, Brandon. I'm really proud of you.
KFC is also finger licking good, though.
We do enjoy the KFC here.
Okay.
About it.
Fair enough.
I will.
All right.
There's no recipe.
Damn,
all right, guys.
mashed potatoes.
Thank you so much for being here. Love you guys. High-low's coming up.
Y'all.
It's high-low time. We're going to examine.
Love you guys. Bye.
Yeah, just love you guys. Some of the more interesting spreads in the NFL this week. Can Daniel Jones and the Giants pull off yet another upset this week when they battle Lamar Jackson and the Ravens? Our NFL panel is going to discuss next. Welcome back to The Sweat, presented by DraftKings. We have DraftKings contributors Jeff Ulrich and Pete Stierstrick here with us now. Fellas, thank you for being here. Week 6 in the NFL, so we're going to do NFL high or low. So are these spreads too high or too low for this Week 6 slate?
Yeah, we'll start with the Florida man who's decided to buy a pickleball team to kind of kick off his midlife crisis. That's Tom Brady and the Bucks. May have gotten away with one, right? Maybe just a wee bit there against the Falcons last week, something about roughing the passer. But they're still major favorites at the Steelers in Pittsburgh this week. 8 points now on the DK Sportsbooks. That spread too high or too low, Pierce Dietrich?
Let's go too low. Team, they are better
Uh-oh.
as the Buffalo Bills. They're still a pretty good team, especially as they get healthier in every single game that we see. But the question I have with, the Buccaneers is their defensive interior line going to hold up? And it's not going to be a problem because Pittsburgh doesn't have a run game and Pittsburgh doesn't have an offensive line. And then you look at Tampa. Tampa is loving passing the ball. And guess what? Pittsburgh can't defend the pass right now. They're giving up tons of yards to the air. They're blitzing left and right. They're not getting pressure. And as we know, if you want to lose a game against Tom Brady, don't get pressure on him. It could be a pretty much wild game for Brady against this defense.
Jeff with a G, Steelers hit rock bottom with that loss to Buffalo. Will it get any better against Tom Brady?
Can't get worse. And yes, this line is too high.
What?
Money's coming in on Tampa. Look, all you need to know about betting the NFL this year is look where all the money is coming in. Look where the places are going, where 70% or more of the bets are coming in, and bet the other side. This is an overreaction spot. Pittsburgh, over the last 3 years, since 2019, is 6-0-1 as home underdogs with Mike Tomlin. Kenny Pickett, nothing about the loss last week is about Kenny Pickett. Yes, their secondary is banged up. Yeah, Mike Evans probably can get some yards here. Tampa Bay is not that good. They should have lost. I don't know if they should have lost last week, but that game was ridiculously close at the end against Atlanta. They let Atlanta come back. I think Pickett will be able to move the ball here. We've got 3 elite wide receivers on Pittsburgh, and I think at home, Mike Tomlin is going to absolutely do everything he can, throw a bunch of new formations out. And I think it's going to be a tough game for the Bucs. I think you're going to see another game similar to last week. The 8.5 is way too much, in my opinion. Take the Steelers to cover.
Jeff, maybe onto something there. Tom Brady, since he's arrived in Tampa Bay in 2020, Bucs are 11-11 ATS on the road. So could go either direction there. You're very welcome. I got you, bro. You're my boy.
Okay, Jeff, let's talk about the Giants. So they had one of the more surprising wins last week. I mean, that was crazy, upsetting the Packers in London. They're now 4-1, so they're surging here. But they're still underdogs this weekend, 5 points at home versus Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Is that too high or too low here, Jeff? Giants are 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 games against teams from the AFC North.
Yeah, but that's with Joe Judge and whoever the carcass was coaching before Joe Judge. I mean,
Carcass.
This is the Brian DeBole era. Come on, I mean, this is the new New York Giants. This is the G-men. Yeah, this is too high. Why are we giving the Ravens so much respect? They don't get any pressure. Their secondary is going to allow plays. I don't know who's playing wide receiver for the Giants, but I don't care because they have a good coach. Giants are going to outcoach everyone they play this year. The talent doesn't matter. Saquon Barkley will get some yards here. Wait for this line to go up, too. The Ravens are another public favorite right now. Almost 70% of the bets coming in on the Ravens. We can get 6 here. It'd be absolutely amazing. This line's too high. Even at 5, I'll take the Giants.
Pierce, New York going to be facing a very aggressive Baltimore defense. They're tied for first in takeaways, and they've blitzed 57 times this season. Can they protect Daniel Jones here? Okay, we lost Pierce.
Doesn't care. He
We
doesn't care.
lost Pierce.
He doesn't care, but there is a game
so
that
sad that I took the Giants that he just left.
Yeah,
Wow.
he
Jeff,
left. He's out.
Jeff, maybe the one game that all of America cares about this week.
Ooh.
Dude, let's go. So, maybe a game of the week. Little rematch of last year's AFC title game here between the Chiefs and the Bills, Jeff. KC at home. Bills, they still 2.5-point favorites, I believe, on the DK Sportsbook. You like where this stands right now, dude?
I thought you were going to talk about Jacksonville Indy for a sec when you talked about America, but no. Yeah. So this game is. It is what it is. I mean, it's obviously a rematch from last playoffs. We've got the Chiefs sitting there as home underdogs, and I think most people are going to look at this and just go, "Why are the Chiefs underdogs at home?" But we saw in Week 1 with the Bills, this team is just different. It is built different, and I'm done doubting them. I don't care about injuries. I don't care about anything. They are getting healthier. Gabe Davis is that downfield threat again. And realistically, if Josh Allen is healthy, the Bills have a chance to cover every single game. I will take Buffalo in this game. I'm still not necessarily sold that the Chiefs are anywhere near Buffalo's level. I think they're a very good team, but as we saw last week, Devontae Adams, you can get this team with big physical wide receivers on the outside. They can be beaten. I think that Buffalo will do that. I think Steph Diggs has a big game. I think Josh Allen gets his revenge. I think the Bills cover here.
All right, Pierce. I believe, is back. Yeah, baby. You got a battle of two 30 points per game offenses. They're good. There's a good chance this comes down to the last possession. What do you think about this line?
Oh, I disagree. This is a reputation issue. We are not realizing how good the Bills are now. They were good before. They're so much better this season. The fact that they are destroying teams, meanwhile, they're not even at full speed. They have some injuries. And then you look at the Chiefs, they're living off their old reputation. This is not a good Chiefs team. You look at the offense. They cannot get the ball downfield. They're getting some touchdowns. They're scoring points. They're beating teams that probably aren't that good. Patrick Mahomes, 5.3 completed air yards per pass attempt. They're not getting the ball downfield. Boy, I wonder why that is. It's because they don't have Tyreek Hill anymore. And you look at the other side, Buffalo, third best team against short passes. It's a really bad matchup. Juju Smith-Schuster's been a bust this season. MVS, Hardman, they came off a pretty good game last week against the Raiders, but it's just the Raiders. Overall, the wide receiver core is not getting the job done. They're going to run into a buzzsaw against this Buffalo Bills team.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm saying KC's good. I'm saying there's a wide gap, though, between Buffalo and anyone else in the league right now. So we're in agreement.
So
That's an interesting way to agree.
Fun fact, my husband has an office in Kansas City, and a company invited him to this game to sit in the box. And he can't go, but he was like, oh, is that going to be a good game? I was like,
is that going to be a good game?
Yeah.
Divorce him. I'm done with that guy.
He's not a football guy. He's not a football guy.
All right. We're done. Jeff, hang out. We'll talk some golf with you. Pierce, good stuff. Glad your internet was able to bounce back here. We're going to talk some NHL because tonight's slate is 3 times as big as last night's slate. Yo, take a look at the games tonight. So last night, a couple good ones, right? The opening night, at least here in the States. Tonight, 6 games to choose from. And let's get some of the favorite DFS plays for this slate with 2 of my favorites, the riveting RotoWire duo of Paul Bruno and AJ Scholes. So we have the defending champ Avs, we got the Maple Leafs, who many say will miss the playoffs this year, and the Oilers on tap tonight. So that means McKinnon, Matthews, McDavid are all on the slate. Paul, which stud are you locking into your lineups tonight? Come on.
First of all, I want to make a bet with anybody out there who thinks the Leafs aren't going to make the playoffs. I'll take all of them. You can build a good case for all 3 of these stars. McKinnon has the best matchup with the Avs hosting the woeful shell of a roster in Chicago. The Avs will again boast a very talented roster, should have a field day against them, and you can bet the captain's going to be right in the middle of all of it. Matthews and the Leafs have what would appear to be a favorable matchup, but you can expect Montreal to play with a lot of emotion in their home opener against their forever rivals, so I'm a little less confident about that one. The Habs will be very weak defensively all season. I know that, but you can throw the Stangs out the window when they meet each other. And finally, McDavid and the Oilers have the toughest matchup of the 3, I'll say, against a pretty good Vancouver club. However, he could go off against any opponent any night, so you can make the case for him as well.
All right, big teams on this slate, AJ, which makes it pretty fun and exciting. So who is worth paying up for? Which stud? Up. You may be on mute, brother. Try it. Hold on. Okay. Nothing. All right,
No.
we don't have you right now. We're going to try to come back, do what Pierce Dietrich did last round, last segment, and try to bounce back and overcome the adversity.
So we'll bounce back to Paul right now.
Yeah.
Paul, you got a blue line option that has you excited on this 6-game slate?
Yeah, you got to go right to the top of the charts here, I think. No surprise that Cale Makar is the top option here. $7,800 the price tag. because of the aforementioned mismatch with Chicago. But I also consider, if you want to save some money, his running mate, Devin Taves of the Avs, he was one of the top scoring D-men as well last season, costing $1,600 cheaper for the same matchup. And then again, going back to the Leafs, Morgan Riley has to be another solid consideration as their power play QB. I mean, they toyed with the Canadians in a couple of exhibition matches with the power play advantage. The Montreal team very suspect defensively and maybe even in net. If you want to save even more money than those two guys, though, go down the list and take a look at John Klingberg making his debut with Anaheim as their power play quarterback of choice. He's going to cost $4,500 against the visitors from Seattle.
All right, do we have AJ yet, producer Tom? Oh, there he is.
We do.
Yeah, there he is. Awesome, awesome.
All right.
Hey,
this is what I get for trying a new setup, trying to improve the audio quality. Didn't work.
No
so
worries.
We'll go with the old setup.
Hey, take us back to question one really quick. Which stud are you going to lock into your lineups tonight?
Yeah, I think for me, anytime you can get McDavid under 8K, that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, McKinnon being at home versus Chicago isn't significantly more, so I think that works out as well. Really, any three of these guys. So if you're looking for a little bit of savings, I think McDavid for under 8K is a great value spot.
All right, AJ, what about a blue line option that you like?
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how John Klingberg works out in Anaheim now. First time playing outside of Dallas. You combine that fact with them playing Seattle at home. He's only 4,500 here. Could end up being a pretty chalky play because of the matchup and price, but I think it's certainly worth a look on the blue line here.
All right, dudes, let's get some value now. Paul, where's the best value play tonight? Who is the best value play tonight, in your opinion?
Well, AJ and I did preseason division previews on our RotoWire podcast over the last few weeks, and I recall that when we talked about Carolina, Seth Jarvis' name came up for both of us, getting top-line opportunities there on the Hurricanes roster. It's going to be one of the best, maybe the best in the East, and he looks like a very good value play tonight for only $3,500 against an ordinary-looking Columbus club. A second choice that I'm looking at is I go back to the Ducks for Troy Terry, who's coming off a breakout campaign where he tallied 37 goals and 67 points in 75 games. He returns as one of the top snipers on their club and costs $3,700 against the Kraken this evening.
All right, AJ, where are you going here for value?
Yeah, absolutely. Seth Jarvis, 3,500, just way too underpriced heading into this matchup. I think other options for you, I like Evan Rodriguez for 4,300 tonight for Colorado. They've got, as we said, a nice matchup there for them. And then also Dylan Holloway at 3,800, another player expected to be a top 6 role for Edmonton. And anytime you can play with Leon Draisaitl, you should be able to pick up a point or two.
All right, finally, let's switch shifts, fellas, and head over to the DK Sportsbook. So, AJ, which NHL bet makes the most sense for you tonight?
Well, I'll give you two here. The first one is doubling down on that Seth Jarvis DFS play and just take him to score at plus 205 on the DK Sportsbook. That's phenomenal value there. And then I really like taking the over in the Toronto-Montreal matchup. Look, Jake Allen is not the best netminder for Montreal. He's going up against one of the best offenses in the league. And then you've got Toronto, who I don't think has gotten better in goal. And I think that's why everybody's thinking they're going to be a non-playoff team. I'm not ready to go that far. I don't need to just give my money to Paul. But I think this matchup could easily hit the over. It's minus 130, so you give up a little bit of juice, but I think it's a good spot.
All right, Paul, what do we think? Best bet here.
Two games that I already touched upon. I expect the Hurricanes to have little trouble dispatching the visiting Blue Jackets and covering the puck line, so I'll go there for the plus 105. And I did say that McDavid and company will have the most difficult matchup of the big three that we highlighted, but I still like them to win and cover the puck line, and that bet to win a plus 135.
All right, dudes. Good stuff, man. Glad we were able to get everything worked out with you, AJ. Gentlemen, have a great rest of your day. Enjoy tonight's 6-game slate. Right after this break, our final break of the show, we're going to talk some PGA Tour, DFS, Zozo Championship, because lineups lock in like 7 hours or 8 hours from now. So you need to pay attention, and we also have one of our analysts going to take a quick little victory lap.
Last week, obviously Tom Kim was the winner at the Shriners Hospitals for Children Open.
Bogey free in 4 rounds. And now
going 24 under.
Yeah, now he and Tiger Woods, I believe, are the only golfers before the age of 21 to win twice on the PGA Tour. It's insane.
Yeah, but before he lifted the hardware on Sunday, our friend Len Hochberg made this declaration on Wednesday when we asked him who his pick to win the Shriners would be. Take a look.
You know, I do not want to get left behind or trampled by the Tom Kim caravan.
Yeah.
So I am jumping on board. We saw he can go low. He went 20 under at the Wyndham. He shot a 61 at the Wyndham. So this guy can do a lot of things.
And there you have it.
Yeah, look at him, Len. Look at you back there. Letting that
The
hair
Tom Kim
just
caravan's looking
rip
a little
through the wind.
janky, honestly.
What's wrong with this?
It's
Yeah,
just
the-
the van
Looks like it's gonna break down soon. I mean,
Yeah, it's true. It looks like you're, I don't know, selling vacuum cleaners out of that thing or something.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful vehicle, beautiful, beautiful vehicle.
I would travel the country. Yeah. Go park
Come
in the
on, let's
backwoods of
go.
Alaska.
They've got 4 of us. What are we doing? Let's do it.
All right, well,
Come pick me up, dude.
Len, congratulations, obviously, on the big win last week. Any interest in riding the hot hand with Kim this week at the Zozo?
Yeah, thank you both very much. And let me point out that Jeff had Matthew Neesmith last week, who finished second. That was quite a pull.
That's not a win.
Yeah,
Thank you,
so
Glenn.
really,
Thank you for
really
spreading
good
the
there.
love.
But I think we have to stay on the Tom Kim hype train, to quote Emerson. You know, we are seeing, that he could be a generational talent, a supernova. He is just, what was most impressive for me last week was not this golf, but that he played alongside one of the stone-faced intimidators of the PGA Tour, Patrick Cantlay, who looks like he would kick your dog half the time out there on the course. And it was Cantlay who cracked on 18 and not Tom Kim. So I like Tom Kim a lot this week. I was a little surprised he was 5th on the DraftKings board, 4 guys ahead of him. So I think we have to certainly consider him at 9,700. He may not even have to win to justify his price.
All right, Jeff, any interest in jumping on the caravan? You could. There's looks like there's room.
I do need to eventually jump on this caravan. I don't know how many more wins, Tom Kim wins, I can afford to miss out on here. Len is completely right. His price, he's a little bit undervalued. I mean, at this point, are we really ranking him under Sungjae Im? I mean, he feels like he should be in the 10K range. At the same time, I think playing for Tom Kim to, just have he may need to stop for gas. The caravan may just need to reload here for a week. That's fine. I mean, we do have a bit of a different track. We don't have a huge sample size from Tom Kim. He's obviously extremely good, but is he going to be better at these easier courses where it's more of a birdie fest? We could see that. So I'm fine laying off here for one more week and just seeing what happens. But yeah, you don't want to take too many weeks off the caravan. So all things considered, I do like the players underneath him. They're just really good in Hovland and Young as well. So I think going with those two in your 9K range plays is actually fine this week.
I mean, nothing he does really surprises, I think, anybody anymore. You could go 4 rounds bogey-free, win at 24 under. Or remember his first win, I think it was at the Wyndham, went quadruple bogey on the first hole and then has a runaway victory. As for everybody else, looks like we have Xander Shockley, one of 4 golfers here in the 10K range. Hideki's there. Morikawa is there. Sungjae Im is in that very expensive department. So, Jeff, which one of these guys are you paying up for? I know you've been very high on Colin Morikawa this week. Is that going to be your move in DFS? Because that was more sports betting.
Yeah, so, I think this kind of comes back to Tom Kim. You could play Tom Kim with Colin Morikawa, and I think that's fine. And I do like Colin Morikawa. But one of the reasons why I kind of rank Tom Kim just slightly below Morikawa is just, I think Morikawa is also underpriced. I mean, what are we talking about in this field? I mean, Hideki is really good. This is his home course. Xander's fine, but Colin Morikawa is a 2-time major winner, under the age of 25. He's the most elite iron player in the world still, in my opinion. And now he's coming to a technical track that he's played a couple times where iron play really has gotten paid off here. We've seen Tiger and Hideki the last 2 seasons. And Morikawa didn't win last year. I mean, this is a player who's probably coming in pretty hungry. He didn't play last week. He's well rested. You're going to see a big week from Colin Morikawa. And just like Tom Kim, he just feels a little bit underpriced compared to the players in front of him. That's where I would go in the 10K range, no questions asked.
I mean, hopefully he found something to believe in around the greens, Len, because he lost like 10 shots putting in the final 2 events of the FedEx Cup playoffs.
Yeah, when we see historically that we have a few elite guys in a field that is not great, it's very hard to differentiate from them, and they all tend to do somewhat well, especially in a no-cut event. I still can't get over how well Hideki Matsuyama does in this tournament. Second to Tiger Woods in 2019. He won it last year. There is incredible pressure on him to perform in his nation's golf mad, crazy Japan, and then their national tournament, their big tournament of the year. So impressive. This is like his 5th major, or maybe his 1st major. I don't know. I really like Hideki Matsuyama this week.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about that mid-range. Jeff, who do you like here?
Yeah, so for me, I mean, the 8K range has a lot of players that set up nicely for this week, but I got to go with my guy Mito Pereira at 8,300. Again, we come back to who do we think like long-term is just maybe a little bit underpriced this week? And I think it's Pereira. I mean, I look at the players in front of him. Some of them are nice, but like Mito just about won a major. He ranks, long-term form strokes gain approach. He's up there. He led the field in strokes gain approach last year as well. He's a 3-time winner on the Korn Ferry Tour. He's also T4 in Japan at the Olympics. I love this setup for him. Again, like a player who's going to lean on his irons at these smaller greens, coming in with good form, and just at 8,300. I mean, you're just feeling like you're getting a really solid discount. So he's another player like Morikawa. Like, we need the putter to show up. It can be a trouble spot for him. But I think with the track being tougher this week, this is just an even better setup for a player like Mito. So 8,300, that's where I really like going. I do like Christian Bezuidenhout at 8,000 as well. Really good short game, and I think that's going to shine through more on a tougher track like Narashino this week too.
All right, Len, how are you approaching a mid-range play?
Yeah, I got a couple of guys a little bit higher than Jeff, a little bit lower than Jeff. 8,900, Keegan Bradley. Keegan Bradley learned how to putt last year, and with his ball striking at this course, we've seen him play well here twice in both iterations at Narashino, and now he's putting so much better. 8,900. I like him. It's 7,600. Andrew Putnam. I was very surprised when I saw that he finished 12th last week. Then I looked him up, and he's been playing very well lately. He had a great playoffs, 5th in one playoff event, 23rd in the other. He's played this track twice before. He knows his way around Narashino. He hasn't had a good finish yet, but I think he knows how to play the course now. I
mean, 7,600 is pretty low on the board. Can you get any lower here when I ask for some value plays, Len?
Yeah, I always like to offer people some lower price. Well, just below Andrew Putnam, 7,500. Aaron Rai, the Englishman. I like the fact that you have to get the ball in the fairway at Narashino. You don't want to get in this funky Zoysia grass rough. And he is very good driving the ball off the tee. 7,500. 3 guys in the 6s, Adam Schenk and Hayden Buckley in the upper 6s. And in the lower 6s, always want to give somebody under 6,500. Yuto Katsuragawa, Japanese player. He is approaching 100th in the world, 2nd and 3rd in his last 2 tournaments. Yes, we know he's moving way up in class this week, but he also was in the Open Championship, and he made the cut, and he finished 47th ahead of a lot of guys. And way back in January at the Singapore Open, a big Asian Tour event, he was co-runner-up. Who did he share 2nd place with? Tom Kim.
Love it. Nice little fun fact there. Jeff, do you have any fun facts for us for your value plays?
Well, Yuto, I had a joke, but that was the guy I was going to bring up as well. It's a great call at 6,300.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It is a great call, and I'm glad that Len brought him up, because I think, what did we see last year at this event? We saw a Japanese player, lead after the first round and finish top 20, and he was really good value. So, I think Katsugawa could definitely do the same thing. At 6,500, though, I will give out another play. Brandon Wu, very interesting player. He's extremely talented. He's been in a bit of a funk with his irons, but you look at where Brandon Wu has had success. The Scottish Open, Mexico, Puerto Rico. It's like you get this guy off the U.S. and he pops for a top 10. He's only 6,500 in a no-cut event, and I think that's absolutely fine. I mean, Katsugawa aside, like, a lot of the players down here don't really have good pedigree, don't really have any experience on the PGA. Brandon Wu does. He won a Korn Ferry Tour, the championship in 2020. He's again, he can pop in fields like this. So I think at 6,500, he's at least worth a look in GPPs. But you do have to be selective down here. Go to our guy Udo, who I'm still thinking of a joke for, and look at Brandon Wu as well.
All right, guys, really quick here. We're running out of time. What is your favorite DFS play for the Zozo, Len?
Price-wise, he's obviously high. Hideki Matsuyama, I just can't believe he continues to play well. There is such enormous pressure on him in his homeland, and he plays well here.
All right, Jeff.
It's my guy Mito Pereira, 8,300. He's just too cheap. I think he's going to come through with a big week. He is due for a win soon.
Love that.
All right, Jeff, figure out that joke by the time we hang out tonight at 5 o'clock for a Wednesday edition of The Slate.
No, I will.
Oh, needs work.
There we go. And that it's actually important for people to tune in because at that point, lineups will lock in like 2 hours from that show. So we'll talk some football tonight. But we got the Chargers and Pats, part of a 6-game Madden slate kicking off here at high noon. And then Jesse will have you tomorrow for an at-home edition of The Sweat, 11 o'clock Eastern time. We'll see you then.